one of the ways to operationalize very quickly and save a ton of money is to get to value stream mapping as soon as possible. And that's really where the rubber meets the road. And that's one of the reasons that we're so successful at what we do is we are getting to value stream mapping quickly, and not to mention the agreement that you create on the team for the process for how to execute the work in the most efficient manner.
Yeah, we're doing some work with a client, and we were value stream a workflow for software upgrades. And so we had asked the team to showcase their value stream map, and they got to the step 4 that said, here's where I request approval. And I said, okay, not knowing the process. How long does that take? He said, 2 weeks, guaranteed. I said, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. You know that that's going to come back in 2 weeks. You've got some certainty to that. Question though, how often do you not receive approval? And the individual looked at me and with a curious smile, he said, I always get approval. I said, wait. You always get approval for something that takes you 2 weeks. And he says, I never thought of that. I said, well, why didn't you think of that? And he said, well, that's because that's what the process is. I said, okay, let me rewind that a little bit. You're telling me that everybody that does what you do, and I said, how many people do what you do? He said, oh, maybe 20, 25 of them across the country. I says, okay, so every time you have an upgrade for a software asset, every one of you has to submit a request for approval. Yes. And it's always approved. Yes. And it always takes 2 weeks. Yes.
And Chris, what was the total lead time on that value stream?
That particular lead time was something like, I think, 30 days.
So a full like 40% or more of that was taken up by that part of the process that didn't need to be there.
Perhaps years ago that made sense at the time, but was never re-examined.
Makes you beg
And
the question, how much money would be saved over time if 25 people are saving 2 weeks out of a 30-day process over the course of a year?
so
I mean, it's
imagine
crazy.
you're a managed service provider. You're trying to upgrade the system. When do you get paid? When the system is upgraded. You're delaying that just in this one action alone by
Oh my
2 business.
gosh, that was all delayed revenue then too.
Correct.
Wow.
So this individual, he was executing his process flawlessly. But when you start to lay it out in a visual format, you go, well, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe you can change that. Maybe if the approval is always automatic, you can just skip that step and stipulate that the approval is automatic. Or maybe you want to sample, 2 or 3 requests out of 50. I don't know, but it's got to be less costly than stopping everything for an approval that's going to be automatic.